I'm going to speak on this piece, Protectors of la Naturaleza Presente. Countless environmental activists' lives are in danger. Globally, hundreds have been killed because of greed. This work is dedicated to human rights and environmental defenders that have been killed throughout Latin America, many who are indigenous peoples, the original guardians of our natural resources y la Madre Tierra. Included in this ofrenda painting are Berta Casares, born March 1971, died March 2nd, 2016. She is of the Lenca people and was a Honduran environmental activist, indigenous leader, and co-founder and coordinator of the Council of Popular and Indigenous Organizations of Honduras. Homero Gomez Gonzalez, born 1970, passed in January 2020, was a Mexican environmental activist, agricultural engineer, and politician. He was the manager of El Rosario Monarch Butterfly Preserve, a component of the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve. Gomez served as mayor and commissioner of El Rosario, Michoacán. Ugay Roy Martinez Perez. Ugay Roy Martinez Perez was killed on the morning of Thursday, May 7, in the corridor of his family's home, very close to the boxes with frogs, snakes, and other animals that he monitored as part of his research activities in the southern highlands of Oaxaca. The 21-year-old was a student of the second semester of the biology degree at the Technological Institute of the Valley of Oaxaca and was dedicated to the care, defense, and preservation of reptiles and amphibians. In my work, I always include text, whether it be cursive, whether it be the glyphs. And so the work is generally layered with text and images of different kinds. I want to just read a few quotes. One was from Berta Casares, Los sueños no se desalojan. You cannot dislodge or remove dreams. And also there's a quote in one of the speech scrolls by Rigoberta Menchú. Todos los reinos que existen en la tierra tienen que ver con el hombre y contribuyen con el hombre. No es nada aislada al hombre, que hombre por allí, que animal por allá, sino es una constante relación, es algo paralelo. So basically, she's talking about how there's not one world for animals, one world for plants, one world for human beings, that we're all connected and there's a reciprocity and we depend on each other to survive. Some of the images, Berta, I pictured her standing in water, and that's one of the glyphs from the Codex Mendoza that represents one of the Nahuatl glyphs or Mexica glyphs that represents water. She's holding a conch shell. She was, of course, an activist and a fighter for water rights of her people. And Homero Gomez Gonzalez is pictured as a butterfly. He's in the act of transformation. Of course, a butterfly represents that transformation between life, death, and then again rebirth. And so he's transcending, and he's transforming, and he's coming out of the fire. And this is an ofrenda. So there's different images here that are related to water, to corn, to the earth, to air, which we breathe. And he's transforming and he's coming, he's rising from the flames, he's rising like a phoenix from the fire. And the image on the ground is a tlaxico, or for the Mexica, they called it tlaxico. For the Maya, Mixim Palamil, which is basically the idea of the umbilical cord to the universe, our connection to the universe. But I also like to think of it as it represents for me also this kind of cyclical time. And rather than just linear idea of time, there's different points on the cycle that represent resonance and connection over generations and over time. I pictured Uge Roy Martinez with the frogs and the amphibians that he loved so much and cared for. And there's an image of Quetzalcoatl in front of him, superimposed on front of him, because I read somewhere that his father read that the name Uge somehow was related to to Quetzalcoatl, to the feathered serpent, and or the precious twin. And so that's why I felt it was appropriate, and that's his connection also to, to amphibians, to snakes, etc. So I mentioned the speech scrolls above, and that's where the quotes are by Rigoberta Menchú and Berta Casares. There's also a line from a poem by Chicano poet Francisco X. Alarcón, where he talks about the tzintzotle. So there's a tzintzotle bird, and then there's a hummingbird, and they're the messengers that are bringing us this knowledge and this information. And then in the sky, there's the transformation again of the butterflies. So I like to think of this piece as an ofrenda. I was so moved to know that so many people in the world, and especially indigenous people that are the activists and the protectors of our earth, are the ones that are being martyred. And so I really wanted to dedicate this to these very important people and to their spirit, and to say basically that their spirit lives on through their work and through us maintaining that memory of who they were and what they represent.